Hey, I'm Warren Sprouse. You're on the Bible Forum. We're looking at biblical veracity, specifically in terms of archaeology, science, and history. Critics of the Bible generally make the same mistake. They assume the Bible to be a collection of religious, emotional, pious, parochial, and inspiring stories and quotes. But they would be wrong. Now, the Bible does tell an historic story, the story of the nation of Israel, later of the spread of Christianity through the Roman Empire, but there's so much more. In chronicling the birth and the development of Israel, the Bible is setting a stage. Much of what we read about the key members of this family, as well as their travels, exploits, failures, and successes, are critical to the capstone of biblical narrative, meaning the salvation of sinful mankind by the very Son of God who came to earth as a child, as one of these Jewish children, being born into not just any family, but one that had a distinct and verifiable link to King David. Why is all that important? Well, because God promised David that one of his descendants would sit on the throne of David forever. Did that happen? Not yet. What many don't understand is the timing. You see, God, the God of the Bible, is eternal. To skip 2,000 years in the narrative is no problem for him. And neither does it negate his promises. It's one of the little technicalities that those who stand on the outside just don't get. So they criticize the Bible narrative as though it's a parochial thing, just this little group and that little time fight, or it's inferior. Surely, if it were from God, the storyline would be far more dramatic and certainly more structured. Well, then along comes something called archaeology. Pesky little thing, archaeology. It's not a perfect science, more a considered opinion based on what's known to be true. Many ancient finds have been verified as accurate decades and millennia later. When new stuff is uncovered, sometimes the other stuff looks different, good and bad. And the Middle East, which is where a lot of this goes on, is rich with potential, since this is where the narrative was focused. There are what are called tells throughout the region. A tell is just a mound of earth heaped up as succeeding civilizations built their cities on the towns and the cities that were now debris. And they just keep going for thousands of years. And some of these tells are huge. Archaeologists dig down and around these mounds and very often unearth important historical facts, facts that can disrupt the contemporary opinions of many historians, facts that invariably prove the Bible to be accurate. A global flood, a Tower of Babel, a Jewish boy becoming second in command behind Pharaoh in Egypt, an ancient people group known as Hittites, continuity in biblical writing, Dead Sea Scrolls. Prehistoric animals? Of course, if they existed in Job's day, are they prehistoric? These are the kinds of things that archaeology digs up and just torments people with. People who don't believe that the Bible is really true. Well, now archaeologists have found an ancient commode. I've been told that that's not anything new. But where they found it becomes the news story. And later on in the program, we're going to talk about that at some length under the title, The Issue of Biblical Veracity. Check it out.